Welcome to JDT Education Channel Sri Lanka. Today we are going to learn about the Central Processing Unit of Grade 7 Information and Communication Technology. Like the video, subscribe and get notified about the next lesson. Let's identify the Central Processing Unit, or else you can call it as the CPU. What is CPU? That is a digital circuit that processes data according to given instructions. CPU can't be observed from the outside because it is positioned or fixed on the motherboard inside the system unit as given in the picture. Let's identify the components of the Central Processing Unit. There are three main components of Central Processing Unit. That is arithmetic and logical unit, control unit, and memory registers. Let's learn about the first component, that is arithmetic and logical unit. Mathematical and logical functions are performed in the arithmetic and logical unit. Mathematical functions include mathematical calculations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Logical functions include logical operations such as comparison of two numbers. The second component of the Central Processing Unit is control unit. Control unit manipulates and controls the hardware connected to the computer. It also performs tasks such as controlling input and output data, ensuring that data is sent to the right place at the right time, and being alert whether relevant signals are successfully received. The third component of the Central Processing Unit is memory registers. Memory registers temporarily stores data and instructions that are being used by the Central Processing Unit. The storage capacity of the memory registers are very low when compared with other memory devices like hard disk. However, its data access speed is very high. Let's learn about the evolution of Central Processing Unit now. Under this, we are going to learn about the 4 generations of CPU based on the electronic technology used to manufacture. The first generation duration time period is 1940 to 1956. The electronic technology used in the first generation is called as vacuum tube. In the power consumption of the first generation, a large amount of vacuum tubes were used and they emitted a lot of heat was required. A cooling system to control the heat was there, so it led to a heavy power consumption. The size of the computer in the first generation as large as a room. The execution speed was measured in milliseconds. And also in the first generation, it cost a lot for production and maintenance. Examples of first generation computers include ENIAC, UNIVAC, and EDVAC. The next generation is the second generation, and the duration time period include 1956 to 1963. The electronic technology used was transistors. In the second generation, less power consumption was there when compared with the first generation computers. The size of the computer in the second generation is smaller size when compared with the first generation. The execution speed was measured in microseconds. And also, the second generation computers costs a lot for purchasing. The next generation is the third generation. Duration time period include 1964 to 1971. In third generation, electronic technology used was integrated circuit. In third generation, less power consumption when compared with the second generation. Smaller size computers were used when compared with the second generation. Third generation execution speed was measured in nanosecond and it cost less for purchasing when compared with the second generation. The last generation is the fourth generation and duration time period include 1971 to date. The electronic technology used in the fourth generation is microprocessor. Also, in fourth generation, less power consumption was used when compared with the third generation. In fourth generation, Smaller size computers were used when compared with the third generation. The execution speed include million of instructions per second and picosecond. Fourth generation computers costs less for purchasing when compared with the third generation, and examples include modern computers that are in use. Let's learn about the speed of the central processing unit now. Speed of the central processing unit, also known as clock speed, is the number of instructions executed in a second. The unit to measure the speed of the central processing unit is Hertz. But in modern computers, the unit megahertz or gigahertz is used to measure speed of the central processing unit. Like the video, subscribe the channel to get notified about the next video.